Welcome, everyone, and we're going to call this now the first official episode of what I'm now calling the Buchnerverse, because all these shows are now part of this umbrella, the Buchnerverse.
Calm down there, Mark.
Mark.
This is Zuckerverse.
Oh. I might not be a billionaire, but I'm better looking than him.
Oh yeah, and you have way more human characteristics.
You are not the spawn of lizards.
This is true. Although he's got sort of that Asian thing going on like I've got, so I do respect that. But welcome everyone to another episode of How the Hell Did This Go Number One? And I gotta say, usually I'm the one who picks the shit. And Brad is the one who picked this one, and I gotta say, for a number one song that I was alive for and in my teens for, I barely remember this piece of shit. When you picked Wild Wild West by the Escape Club, Andrea, who was also alive for it, did remember it, didn't know what it was, and thought, we're talking about the Will Smith movie?
Nope.
Wild Wild West.
Well, that's Cool Modi, which was also the rap song before this, which never came close to number one, but was a bigger song now in our consciousness. And the Will Smith movie was terrible, but we know that more. So this is the third most famous Wild Wild West 20-year period, but the only thing that actually went number one. And how did this happen?
What I love about this going to number one is it didn't even chart in the UK where they're from. Didn't even break 100.
They had never even been to America until they tried, and I will say tried, to tour on this song.
Well, they did tour. It's not like you're selling out a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, it didn't do well. It wasn't a great tour.
But let's start off with what Andrea said, though, because I kind of like that, because usually in the United States, and again, for three Canadians, yes, we know that it's kind of weird that it's three Canadians discussing songs that went number one in the US, but let's be blunt. Sorry, people who hate America. That's kind of the gold standard for music. Sorry, but it is.
We could always
if we went with Canadian chart toppers, we wouldn't have any listenership.
Oh, we still would, but I mean, it would be kind of like a lot of people would say, like, wait a minute, this didn't go number one, or other shit like that. So,
and it'd be way too much Celine Dion and Alanis.
And Shania.
This is true. But the UK would be also, if we were ever to come up with another country to do this for, the UK would be that. And it's interesting that you bring it, because what you brought up, because usually if you're a hit in the UK, you're going to somehow try to work your way to the States. But now we have somebody, the British people who didn't make it there. This doesn't happen. And it's kind of interesting to try to figure out how. This band, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, because apparently they were around for 5 years. From what
they were Mad Shadows to start with.
Yeah, just some club band. I forgot all about the video. I didn't remember it at all. Obviously, it got a lot of airplay, but I think at that point in my life, would have been 16. I see it, I just turn the channel because it just.
It was such a horrible video with the disembodied freak show mirror arms and legs floating around,
but that's all it was. I mean,
I thought it was kind of cool. What surprised me was the fact that it got banned on UK TV.
Did it though, or are they just blaming the fact that they didn't chart?
No, they actually
got banned.
They weren't allowed. The censors, basically, for an undisclosed reason, apparently, they wouldn't allow it on UK TV
because it sucked
on the BBC. You know what? It was okay. I hate always sticking up for the underdog here, but it wasn't terrible.
This underdog rolled in dog shit.
It did, but your dog rolls in all kinds of stuff, and you still love her.
Yeah, but it's
true. But she gets a bath.
So let's bath the Wild West here.
Okay.
No, the worst part of this is that, looking at it with 2022 lenses, absolutely, it's horrific. It's just kind of this twice. But the nice thing about it is, at the time, other than, let's say, Michael Jackson putting a shit ton of money and effort into his music videos, at the time, This was right up there.
No, videos were getting a lot better. Like videos, when you look at just when you go from 83 to 84, 85, like there was a lot of great videos that had already come out by this
There
point.
were, but this wasn't the worst one.
No, it wasn't the worst one, but what
No.
is 5 good-looking men, or is it 4? I don't even remember. That doesn't hurt when you get a lot of airplay. So, like, what's their target audience? Is it necessarily the male demographic? I don't think so.
I don't know, the whole stockings thing, that was oddly arousing.
I mean, I don't see that. So I was again trying to figure out how this even happened. If I'm a record company, I'm seeing these guys. Okay, they can play. I'm giving them a shot.
They were signed with a record company. They made this album, and the record company, I can't remember which one it was, didn't pick it up.
Doesn't matter.
And then so they had to go shop the record around, and I think it was I can't remember. Anyway, so they made it while they were signed with the record company, and even that record company wouldn't take it up.
I think the other interesting thing is, so let's like, why would this be a hit in the US and not the UK? And maybe we could just look at the initial title itself.
Mm-hmm.
Wild Wild West. If you're in England, what's the Wild West of England? I've never been to England. I don't know. But it's
I
not the
guess it'd be
same.
kind of Ireland or the ocean.
Well, I guess. I mean, Ireland's not part of England, just Northern Ireland is.
Well, it depends on how west you go, I guess.
Well, go west, young man. So
Life is peaceful there.
the Germans would have us believe. But in the US and in Canada, to a lesser degree, you're thinking of the connotation of what do we mean by Wild West? Okay, so it's where there's no rules, there's cowboys, there's all this bunch of stuff. But in 1988, by this point, cowboy movies are back, Westerns are back, but in the late 80s, there weren't any. There were no cowboy flicks. That genre kind of died for whatever reason until it made a comeback. So you look at the video and they are kind of dressed in kind of Western, bad West gear. I'll say kind of what Marty McFly was wearing 2 years later, Back to the Future 2, or no, 3. Starts off with the gunshot. I mean, so you're trying to appeal to something American.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got that going, I suppose. The lyrics are kind of meaningless.
Actually, they're not.
They are too.
They aren't actually.
They're
Go
not
ahead,
meaningless. They're talking about the Cold War.
Are they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sitting in a back room waiting for the big boom. Ronnie's got a new gun. Basically, they're saying the world's going to end. So
I don't
let's
think they were
party.
that deep. I think it was
It's
just something
very,
that they were coming
very-
up with. They're smoking some crack, thinking about, well, okay, we're all gonna die. They were not deep.
He wrote the
not
song
like-
in a day, and he was proud of it.
Yeah.
So it's
exactly.
not deep, but to me, it's almost it's similar, but not nearly as good or the same. But the end of the world as we know it.
Yes, I was going to bring that up because
Do not compare this to anything by REM. Do not.
But it's like the end of the world as we know it. If
I don't
Huey
feel
Lewis
fine.
and the News was singing it.
But you also have to look at it like it's got a lot of Pump It Up by Elvis Costello sitting in there.
Oh, it's entirely
And-
Pump It Up. It's completely ripped off from Elvis Costello,
Bob Dylan, Subterranean Homesick Blues.
which Pump It Up was Elvis
Inspired
Costello
by.
fully admits that
Yeah.
it's based on that.
100%.
It is entirely
So-
Elvis Costello could have sued them for it easily.
This is what you're sitting with here. You've got this goulash of all of these different influences. You're talking about American things during the Cold War. He's basically referencing the punk rock girls in there. You know, she's so mean, but I don't care. I love her eyes and her wild, wild hair. It's
That's
either
some
that or
80s hair there.
talking about the huge stuff. The wild, wild, I was kind of thinking would be like the big old mohawks and shit, but it could also be the hairspray abuse that happened back then too. But no, he's talking about all of that. And, you know, for a one-day song, that has obvious earmarks of some much greater songs, it's not bad.
You're giving this guy way too much credit for having a for having one deep thought. And so,
What is really bad, though, is the whole dance hall bit towards the end. That is an atrocity that should have never happened, and it makes UB40 sound decent.
I think okay, UB40 is not that bad. I want to point out. Second,
No, but I'm just talking about that whole little dance hall
no,
thing.
I agree.
They
with you.
made
It's
snow look a little more beige.
I think when I was looking at just doing a bit of preliminary research, and then it said songs influenced by reggae, and this was in that category. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
No, this is like 70s synth pop done through a 80s
Okay.
dance filter.
So let's get back to, or I want to drive to the actual year. So this is 1988 when this happened. So you referenced the Cold War. So now, granted, I don't think most people who were listening to this even picked up on it, or maybe they did or they didn't, because when you're
I
hearing,
didn't until I actually looked into it and started actually reading the lyrics.
but even back then, most people when they're hearing a song, unless it's that type of music, like an REM, where you are supposed to pay attention to what Michael Stipe is writing, because Michael, he knows things. This guy knows shit. Dare you bring up REM? I was
So
this
tell us
close
how you
to shutting the
really feel,
laptop.
Kirk.
Let me tell you, I was about to do that. Yes, I mean, like I don't know how Ivan the cat here is handling this, but Ivan,
With his usual amount of disdain.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I wanted to look at what was going on around this. Not that long ago, we looked at Every Rose Has Its Thorn, which was the first hit of this year in 1988. This was happening in November, and I said then when we looked at Poison that this was a weird era. Rap hadn't dominated the charts yet. Hair metal was on its rise, but hair metal was fluff, fun but fluff. Motown was dead. R&B stuff wasn't crossing over. So I looked at the top 10 at this. So I brought this up here. This is the top 10 that existed that this beat out. So it's almost like something had to go number one, which is kind of how this looked to me. All right, so
This is
number
at least
one.
metered.
Well, more or less. Okay, and some of these we'll eventually talk about. Number two, which did go number one. At some point, I'm going to force you all to do this. The Beach Boys' Kokomo.
I think about that one every once in a while.
Jamaica.
I
I
wanna
want to
take it.
Right. Number three, I think this is the worst version of one of the worst songs ever. Kylie Minogue, The Locomotion.
Everybody's doing a brand new dance now.
Come on, baby, do the locomotion.
That one's out of your range.
It was sort of a tickle in my throat, but yes, that is not my range at all.
Number four, Bon Jovi, Bad Medicine.
She gives love just like bad medicine.
I mean, Bon Jovi was going to pretty much have a hit no matter what they were, because everyone was in love with John Bon Jovi,
Mhm.
and they weren't terrible.
They weren't terrible.
That's the best thing I got. Yeah, they weren't terrible.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. That's high praise.
Okay, number five, and I can't believe I don't remember this. Whitney Houston, One Moment in Time.
Oh, Whitney Houston, jeez.
I don't remember this song.
Give me one moment in time.
I guess I just turned the channel back.
She hits the high note for something about destiny.
All right, a good song, U2, Desire.
Yeah, back when you two didn't suck.
Back when they didn't sort of like, back before like when Google didn't exist, and now with the first thing when you type in U2, how to get this damn U2 song off my iPod. Or
Yeah.
God,
You know,
damn.
when they were a protest band, they were awesome. When they became sort of, rock, pop, fusion, electronic, they kind of dropped right off. them.
I can't do a Bono accent, so but no, we're satire. We're satirizing all this.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think you tried and you failed, and somebody pointed out how silly you looked.
Mm-hmm. Phil Collins' steaming pile of shit at number 7, Groovy Kind of Love.
Wouldn't you agree?
I do not
Baby,
agree.
you and me, we got a groovy kind of love.
Number 8. This also went to number 1. I don't know if we're ever going to do this. Will to Power, Baby, I Love Your Way, which I guess is about as.
Ooh, baby, hello. I can't. I'm gonna tickle in my throat.
Put some
Number-
bourbon on
Ooh,
it
baby, I love your way.
every day.
Which is another thing of like, I don't know if reggae can get any more watered down than that group.
Put some
Probably
whiskey
not.
on that tickle, Andrea. That'll fix it up.
I mean, Will to Power makes UB40 look like the third incarnation of Bob Marley. Number 9, George Michael, Kissing a Fool. Number 10, a really good song, In Excess, Never Tear Us Apart. And then there's other crap here. Chicago, Look Away.
Oh, not a good Chicago song.
Boy Meets Girl, Waiting for a Star to Fall.
Waiting for a star to fall.
Just utter shit. Something had to go number 1.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is what we have.
This was the least stinky poo in the pile.
No, it was not. But I mean, at some point, even shit floats.
And you look at the other number 1s all around this, and yeah, it's just ballad after boring ballad.
Or sellouts. Or people who are their best days have gone. Or people like Bon Jovi. You could have put out pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Or Whitney, who put out really anything. Of course, she was very manufactured at that point. When she did try to be more of her own woman, it didn't quite work, but people didn't buy it.
So going back to the Wild Wild West, as it was, not an absolute terrible song that came out of
compared to what I just listed. Yes,
one day of writing, inspired by those who came before, and it was poppy, and like what Andrea was saying, in a sea of ballads. So maybe it was the time that it was released, the amount of ballads around it, and somebody needed a little pick me up.
It is danceable too. So
it's got a decent beat, and I will say it has exactly the recommended dose of cowbell.
Nice.
No.
Well, Andrea, you glitched out there. You're just about.
Sometimes it needs more cowbell.
It always needs more cowbell.
And that's the only instrument I play. Who would have thought that would have been one of the most iconic sketches ever?
Oh yeah, because you can't hear "Don't Fear the Reaper" now without like honing in on that cowbell.
All right, I'm gonna segue out of this because it's here. I once dated a girl. This might have been why I broke up with her. And that song comes on the radio, and she says, like, I can't believe they actually put this on the radio. Like, what do you mean? The Saturday Night Live song.
Oh,
This was a real song. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was.
Okay, you can't argue that. You can't. No, if she's like, oh, I didn't know that, I hadn't heard it before, that's acceptable. But if you're going to argue that it was never a song, then just get your Blue Oyster Cult disrespecting ass out of my car.
I think she was driving, and she had drove a much nicer car than I did.
Then you tuck and roll.
It's like there's a lot of people with the TikTok verse now thinking that songs that came out 20 years ago are new.
I love it too. Well, I don't go on TikTok, but I love it when sometimes they just, when that generation, because when that generation, these young kids today, and they listen to these songs when I was a kid, and now they're just learning what it meant. Back in my day, we knew what songs were. We liked it. Got it.
I was wearing an onion on my belt.
Yeah. That was the style at the time.
These songs, yeah, I think just we have a year, and I wonder if we still do this years later, and the next generation takes this over, and they're going to look at some of the songs now, because it's just like one rap pop hybrid after another.
Mm-hmm.
Is some of the fact that they don't listen to lyrics because they don't have album covers to pour over? Like we used to just like spend hours like reading word by word the lyrics and the inserts, and
yeah, but we also had nothing else to watch.
Well, true. These were the days of sitting on the can and reading the deodorizer spray bottle because
or
there was
instructions for shampoo. How do I know when to stop repeating?
as needed, Brad, as needed.
Because I've been stuck in the bathroom for a long time because of that.
I think the worst thing though is when you actually drink on the toilet, and then you're just reading the same 4 items off a beer can. Carbonated water, hops, barley. Oh, let's read it, start over again. And yes, I drink.
That sounds like the voice of experience, Kirk.
It is. I said that's what I did. I'll own that. Yes.
So yeah, not a great song by any stretch, but when compared to what was out at the time, it was like shockingly mediocre.
And sure enough, this band went nowhere. They had no other hits.
They did have a number 5.
And it was not good.
No, it wasn't good. It was a ballad. It was "I'll Be There," I believe it was called.
I don't even remember it. When I played it again, I have no recollection of it whatsoever.
Really? It tweaked something back there. Like I had heard it on the radio a couple of times or something.
I remember.
I had no recollection.
And so they had one more album. And at that point, I mean, if you did something good in 1988, you were pretty much shit by 91.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was such a seismic shift.
Grunge came along and destroyed music.
Well, I mean, let's look here. Let's go back to this list here of these people who in that top 10. So who survived? The Escape Club did not survive 5 years later. The Beach Boys were lucky. That was a fluke.
The Beach Boys got a lot of back catalog to carry them on.
I was going to say they're timeless.
Yeah, you got Pet Sounds,
but I don't. That's why I'm not counting them because I don't consider them a 1988 group.
Mm-hmm.
No,
this was just like this one-off that. Right,
Brian Wilson got out of his bed for one day. They recorded Kokomo.
Yeah, but you don't put that in a Tom Cruise movie in 1988. That we don't hear this.
Yeah.
Kylie Minogue. Okay, she did definitely survive.
Bon Jovi did a few things.
Bon Jovi very much survived. Whitney Houston did.
Well, for a bit.
Did. Phil Collins was done. I mean, I know he did Another Day in Paradise, which was another misunderstood song. A song about homelessness, and then people bop into it. Like,
how do you bop to that song? It's so...
I gotta say, Phil Collins isn't really, I wouldn't, because he'd had such a career already before this. This is kind of, it's his...
Okay.
The end of it.
So let me read the ones that did die. Will to Power, dead.
Yeah.
Breathe, dead. Cinderella.
Oh, can Cinderella ever truly die, though? I mean, that hair would just go on and on and on.
I wonder if they still have her.
It's in a box somewhere.
Yeah. Well, I've got all my teeth.
If they're going with princesses, they should go with Rapunzel, not Cinderella, with that hair.
Boy Meets Girl.
Waiting for the star to fall.
Oh god, yeah. Vixen.
Vixen.
Yeah.
There's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Okay, here's okay. They were done here. Huey Lewis.
Huey went on.
No, not in the 90s.
No, not into the 90s. No.
No, but again, they had a pretty good run of it in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then, of course, they got brought back by American Psycho.
Here's one I don't remember. At number 38, Till I Loved You, Barbara Streisand and Don Johnson? The hell is that?
That's got to be some movie theme.
Let's scrub that from the memory banks. That's another thing to drink away.
Kenny G, Silhouette? What the fuck is this?
Kenny G. Wow. I mean, how to make a saxophone boring.
It's no yakety sax.
It is no yakety sax. That is a work of art.
Oh, God. Please Don't Go Girl, New Kids on the Block.
Oh.
Wow. All right, well, that's interesting. I got to bring that up every time we do this. So we're not going to be doing this for the next couple of weeks because Andrea's leaving us.
I'm going on holidays.
On holiday. So sadly, in the interim, that means
I'm not responsible for anything these two hooligans do while I'm away.
So long as I don't have to wear pants, I'm good.
I don't think you have to. You don't have to wear them now.
Right? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Just don't stand up in front of the camera.
Oh, you
I-
wouldn't notice anyway. My thumb would be in the way.
I've been going bottomless this entire time. But anyway,
Donald ducking it.
ducking it. Anyway, so Brad and I, we came up with this really bad idea because we're both near 50. I'm the older one and the more mature one.
By what, 3 months?
He's rocketing toward the crypt.
Uh-huh. We've decided that we're going to like look back at these times, these simpler times in the 80s, and look at female celebrities that we used to maybe pleasure ourselves to. And then what we're going
Let's maybe class that up a little bit. We're going to look at artists and entertainers who inspired us.
I am not responsible for this.
And let's just say my bedroom ceiling as a kid was not originally textured.
Or how about we just call it digitally pleasured?
Digitally.
Yes. Got it? Because digitally that, now computer?
I can't facepalm any harder for those of you on audio.
You can if you actually your hand will wind up in your brain though.
And I think what we'll do is we'll start off with the preteen years. So we have to look at 82 and 83 when we realized that there was something to the fairer sex.
To quote an amazing artist of a few years ago, she makes me feel kind of funny, kind of like when we used to climb the rope in gym class.
Ooh, that actually would be sort of good if we get to like Tia Carrere. Yes.
I have to admit, I really liked the Ballroom Blitz cover they did in that movie.
Was she singing?
I don't know if it was Tia singing or not, but we can pretend.
What was that show she still did? Andrea, you need to be part of this because like I can't. Brad and I are just God. I don't know.
The show that Tia Carrere did, wasn't it some sort of treasure hunting thing?
I don't know. I mean, I just sort of like, and it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's just you and me, Kirk, doing this, it's going off the rails. We
Maybe
might
that's
as well
what you
call it
off the rails.
broken minecart.
There you go. All right. Well, that's not going to gain us any sponsors. But hey, I don't know if you guys know this. I wrote a book.
Wait. You did what?
I wrote a book.
Say it again for the kids in the back.
I wrote a book. It's about the late, great Chavo Guerrero Sr. Do you want to get that book? Do you? Well, get it. You can get that on Amazon. Chavo Guerrero instant classic, all about his great tales from the ring.
It'd make a great Mother's Day present.
It very well might. I mean, and he was a wild child. I mean, he might actually be your poppy. That's possible. If you're of a certain age, it's very, very possible. So think about that. Also, in the Buchnerverse, would you like to know the other shows in the Buchnerverse?
I want you to say Buchnerverse with a straight face.
Can't.
No, I didn't think so.
I can't do it.
Is it because you're all encompassing?
I'm all encompassing. Like, I got nothing funny. I'll just keep going. Andrea was supposed to be a special guest on another episode in the Buchnerverse, but she decided not to return my messages.
Sorry, I'm a shitty friend sometimes.
Yeah, well, it's because you're going on a trip in Alaska. That's okay. But Andrea,
it's full on panic mode time.
It's okay. Well,
I'll join you later when I'm back. And
will. And
yeah,
joining on a special episode of technically the partner show to this, which is This Crap Was on National Television. Andrew's going to help us look at the 1989 Oscars. But in the meantime, Chris Bournet, he couldn't wait. So we're going to look probably next week at The Powers of Matthew Starr, which is about as good as it sounds.
You guys got to look at Misfits of Science.
Well, I found this one first. It's same era.
Okay.
Same era.
Yeah.
So we're going to look at that. I've actually want to invite Chris for a special episode for when you come back, because I didn't tell you because I picked next time.
Yes, you do.
I forgot.
What do you pick for next time?
I'm going to pick, because that's if Chris is going to be with us. One of his favorite artists is Prince. Prince is great,
yes.
Except for Bat Dance.
Oh, that didn't chart #1, did it?
Oh, yes, it did.
That was the
Oh,
magic of Prince. Even the shit hit number one.
oh, that's
Right.
terrible.
Prince.
He
Plus
could do no
Batman.
wrong for a while.
I did like a lot of tracks on that album, though.
Yeah, but I mean, like if Prince were still alive today and he went on another tour and he never played Bat Dance, I don't think anyone would care. But I'll save
No.
that for a few weeks from now. So that will be coming up.
Is that why you said that the Adam West song was going to be part of my return episode?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you forgot to mention that because of the parody of I like my Batman better when he was Adam West.
Yeah.
And they did that because of Michael Keaton. Because a lot of people
Didn't
just
like Michael Keaton being the Batman.
Hey, I mean, back then, when they first cast him, my first thought was in the song talked about it. Mr. Mom's Batman.
Yeah. Okay,
so.
now, while we're on this topic and before we sign off, because I'm sure that our listeners and viewers would love to know, who is your favorite Batman of all time? We're going back to the Adam West days, all the way up to Robert Pattinson.
I'm going to shock you with my answer. And
Hit it.
Okay, my actual answer is the one that they screwed up because it would have been perfect. And that's George Clooney. Because Clooney would have been perfect if it was him and what any of the other ones.
Kirk, don't you talk to me or my son anymore.
Look at a daughter.
I do have a daughter. It's an internet thing. You had to be there.
I haven't seen the new one, so I can't comment. But I am still a Christian Bale fan.
Christian Bale's actually the best one. But I maintain that Clooney was the one that got away.
I also have a deep love for Adam West Batman because it's true comic book.
Oh, absolutely. It was complete schlock.
Yeah. You can't compare Christian Bale with Adam West.
You mean Mayor Adam West?
They're just it's a completely different thing.
Absolutely. And what I have a hard time doing in picking a favorite Batman is that you have to pick somebody who can not only play Batman, but also plays Bruce Wayne as well. And I think
Clooney would have been great. I would have bought him as the Playboy.
Oh, brother, where art thou?
I would have bought Clooney as the Playboy much more than as Batman.
Yeah, he's got no menace to him. Clooney is a very gentle, soft actor. I'm not saying I could take him in a fight because I probably couldn't. He'd hit me, I'd hit the floor, it's over. But to believe Clooney as Batman, no, I can believe him as the millionaire playboy, absolutely, like Andrea is saying. I would believe him as Tony Stark before I believed him as Batman.
All right.
So with that said, I think I like Mr. Mom, Michael Keaton's portrayal of Bruce Wayne and Bale's portrayal of Batman.
Fair. Okay. But we should stop talking about Batman if we're going to be.
That's true. That's actually a topic for 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now. Hey, what else is on the Buchnerverse?
You can't say it with a straight face.
I can't. Because it's so stupid. The flagship show where we look at halls of fame. Because it's called Not in Hall of Fame. That's what we do. Look for that every week with Evan Nolan and myself. Vinny Lospinuso. He does a great show with us. He looks at random people who should be in halls of fame. You know who he's got? You actually heard of these people.
Who does he got?
Theodore Roosevelt, former president of the United States. He's going to make a case for why he should be in the Football Hall of Fame. It's actually a pretty good one. I know where he's going with this. Yeah. All that and more on the Buchnerverse.
I like that you do a heart.
Yeah.
The Buchnerverse is a heart.
Why don't you just just go anime style? It's the Buchnerverse. Make big anime eyes.
From here and going around. If you want circle, you got to do that. Or this.
Fine, it's a square. I don't know.
Trapezoid.
Docohedron?
No.
Dodecahedron.
No.
Yeah, dodecahedron. That's what I was trying to think of.
This is the official thing. The Buchnerverse.
Oh, yeah. And the smile still stays, too. So you got some sparkle with it.
Absolutely.
I think you should jazz hands the end.
I think
Reverse.
That's the one, Andrea.
I think that so somehow in post, although I don't do anything, there should be sort of like a little sparkly thing.
Yes, we need to have a drag queen to announce.
No, we're
The
not
Buchner
having a
verse.
drag queen.
Oh, we could get Tony Lester Van Blam,
You
Who?
could do that.
the drag queen in Jasper, Michael.
Buchnerverse.
He'd be happy to do it for us.
You know, I had something really special at the start of this with the Buchner verse, and now I don't know what the hell I have.
Well, it's fabulous, whatever it is.
And on that note, wherever you are, wherever you may be, stay safe, everyone.
See you in a few weeks.
Good night.